Hey, welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom. Let's talk about how to lead like a CEO today. So here's what I know for sure. Your business will only grow as much or as quickly as you grow as a leader. And when you have a business, you're doing, you're doing this thing, you're a leader. And I think that's one of the biggest things is just having that identity and that mindset shift of I'm a leader and I need to lead my people really well. And so anytime I step into any kind of environment, let's say I'm doing a webinar, I'm doing a challenge, I'm hosting a 3-day event, I'm working with my team, I'm working with our Activate students, I step into that environment and I know I am the leader of this space and I'm responsible for making sure like they're showing up the way that they need to show up. Okay. So that might look like if let's say I'm hosting an event, and this has happened many times before. Let's say I'm hosting an event and we're doing a challenge or doing something like that, and people are not engaging, they're not interacting, their videos are off. Instead of being like, oh my gosh, they're like, they don't like me, or whatever it is you want to say, like whatever story it is that you want to create in that moment, I remind myself I'm the leader. I need to help them show up the way that they need to show up to get the transformation that they need to create. And so I'm coaching them on, hey, if you're going to be here, like actually be here, show up, turn your video on. Otherwise, like go, like if you're on the toilet, you can turn your video off, but otherwise like be here. I don't care what you look like. And so it's just a matter of managing the environment that you're in and having the identity of I'm a leader in this space. I'm a leader right now. So let me know if you struggle with leading specific areas and what that looks like for you. I think that was one of the biggest shifts that I had to make was when I stepped into a certain environment, I need to lead these people. And if they're not showing up, I need to make sure I help them show up and lead them to take action for themselves. Okay. That's number one. Number two, welcome feedback. Feedback is awesome. And so you might use different terms of like criticism or like positive criticism, negative criticism. I like using the term feedback and also remembering that feedback is neutral. And so I did a leadership program over a year ago. And one of the most impactful things for me was understanding that feedback is such a powerful and helpful tool as you grow your business. Because before I would just be so uncomfortable with giving feedback to certain people and like getting criticism or whatever that is. And now I'm like, no, tell me how I can get better. How did this go? Like, what can I do better? How can I improve? And so when someone gives me criticism, which I'll now label as feedback, because that's what it is, I'm so grateful for it because ultimately that person's helping me get better. And so let's say I host an event. I'm like, right away, how could we make this better? How could I get better? Right. So I'm looking for that feedback so I can continue to improve. So anytime you're doing anything in your business, look for feedback and ask for feedback. As you're working with clients, ask for feedback and just know it's neutral. It doesn't say anything like you're a terrible person or anything like that. It's just, hey, this is how you can improve in this area. And I'm thinking of like Tony Robbins, how he's been doing his events for 40 plus years. After every single event, he finishes the event and then he's like, how can we make this better? How can we improve? And so you got to be able to take feedback, but also give feedback as well. So as you start leading people on your team, you have to be able to give them feedback and how they can improve in certain areas too. And so having, they could be difficult conversations. These are things that need to happen as you grow as a leader. And it's just a matter of doing them more and more and more. Like it'll become so much easier because before I used to dread having certain conversations. Now I'm like, no, I get to help this person get better. Okay. So understanding feedback is neutral. Giving and receiving feedback, that is huge to growing in your leadership. Next part is you have to actually focus on growing in your leadership. And so attending different leadership events. So Global Leadership Summit, that's coming up in August. My mom is going. I'm not because I'll be just getting back from France and then going to a mastermind event. But I've been twice and that is an awesome event for leadership growth. And I think you can attend online now. There's so many online events that you can attend, which is great. And nothing replaces in-person events. I'm considering doing leadership training events and that kind of thing to help you grow as a leader in your business and like scale to the $500,000 mark and beyond. So if that's something you're interested in, let me know. I'm definitely considering doing like a leadership retreat in France because I'm like, that would be so fun now that borders are opening up. It's just an excuse to go to France and have it be a tax write-off. So why the heck not? So let me know if you're like, heck yeah, I'd want to do that. Other things that you could do, just read books. John Maxwell is my go-to when it comes to leadership because he is the number one leadership expert in the world. And so reading some of his books on the 5 levels of leadership, the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. These are books that you can listen to. They're probably for free on YouTube, but I've read them multiple times, and they're great. And then there's different leadership programs that you could also attend. I did Hardcore Leadership Program a little over a year ago. So there's so many different things that you can do to grow in your leadership, but you got to actually focus on it. If you're not intentional about growing, then it's not going to happen. So you have to actually, focus on that, right? Next is love your people. Love your people and treat them well. And so this goes for clients that you have and also team members that you bring on. Love your people. I remember I attended an event, Danny Johnson. Gosh, this was a long time ago, maybe 2011, 2012. And what was the event? It was like her advanced event, dynasty, creating a dynasty or something like that. And at that event, I remember this vividly. She had us come in the evening, like in our pajamas with blankets, pillows, and watch the movie Invictus. So that's a movie about Nelson Mandela, and like his life. And she's like, I don't want you just to watch the movie to watch the movie. I want you to watch the movie and take notes on Nelson Mandela and his leadership and how he shows up and how he treats people. And I just remember watching this movie, and this is homework if you want to do it because it's a good movie, but actually just study him as like one of the best leaders who's ever lived, right? Study him and what he does. And one of the things I noticed is he knew every single person's name that was in his office that was working in the building. He knew about their family. He knew what was important to them. He knew what was going on. And so it's just a matter of like, wow, how like I don't know if you like when you think about leadership, thinking about like the CEO who's demanding a task to be done at this specific time, and like if you don't get it done, you're fired. It's not like that. It's about how can you love on your people? How can you care about them? Because when you care about them, they're going to show up and want to work for you, right? So you got to love on them. You got to care about them and tell them often like, hey, I appreciate you. I see the hard work that you're doing. I think that of like the acknowledgement, like I see you, I see the hard work you're doing, that I think is more valuable than even giving like a raise or a bonus or something like that. Those are fun too, and those are great to be able to be generous and to your employees, but also just like tell them, hey, I see that you're doing hard work and I really appreciate you, and this is how you've helped grow the company. Okay. Next is just open, clear, honest communication and setting expectations with your clients and with your team members of like, hey, feedback is welcome. We need to make sure we're honest and clear. And if you're not happy with X, Y, and Z, I need to know. And if they're not showing up, you need to let them know. And you just got to have that clear dialogue. Because people don't like to like have surprises and be guessing of like what you thinking. Oh my gosh, is my job in jeopardy or like any of these other things. So just be in the habit of letting people know like, hey, open and honest communication is welcome here, and I won't get mad at you for telling me something. Like I'm opening the communication line and have it be like a two-way street. Okay. Next one is choose growth over control. And this is a lesson I learned from Global Leadership Summit and Craig Groeschel. By the way, he has a great podcast. It's what is it called? The Leadership Podcast? Global don't know. But if you look up Craig Groeschel Leadership Podcast, you'll find it. Is great. And at Global Leadership Summit, one of the things that he said is you can either have growth or you can have control, but you can't have both. So you got to pick. Do you want to have growth or do you want to have control? And so one of the things that you can do when you're leading as a CEO is to step out of micromanaging. You don't have to micromanage your people. Let them show up and make mistakes and learn from their mistakes and trust that they're going to get it right and they're going to grow. Okay. And so don't micromanage. Oh my gosh. In the beginning, yes, you want to like hold their hand a little bit more and make sure they're doing a great job. And then just let them do their own thing. Like I'm thinking of Lizzie on our team who, oh my gosh, she's been on our team for over 4 years. I don't micromanage the details and I know that she's going to get it done. And we just have that communication and I trust her now of like, hey, you got this, right? So choose having growth over micromanaging every single little thing. Because as you grow your business, you cannot micromanage every single person on your team, and it's going to be exhausting. And they're going to be like, she doesn't trust me, so what's the point, kind of thing. Next, make decisions quickly. If you want to lead like a CEO, you can't just sit on something forever. You got to actually make decisions quickly. Okay, this is a big one. And this goes for, if you're going to invest in yourself, if you're going to host an event, like whatever that is, just make decisions quickly and be adaptable, because there's going to be so many things that happen in your business where it's like, well, that wasn't what I expected. You just got to kind of roll with it. Expect for things to break and learn how to adapt quickly and on the fly. Expect for technology to break. Expect for these things to happen. And then when it does, you don't freak out. It's just like it happens. Next is be authentic. Be authentic. This goes for as you're growing, your audience, as you're working with clients, as you're working with your team. Just be you, be authentic. Don't try to put on a perfect facade of everything is great. When you're struggling with something, let your team know, let your clients know, hey, this is what I'm struggling with, and I could appreciate your prayers or support. And when you show up, because if you pretend everything is perfect and then you all of a sudden you just have like a mental breakdown or a nervous breakdown or whatever it is, they can't support you in that moment. And so you get to ask for support and ask for, hey, this is what I need in this moment. Okay. But you got to be authentic, be vulnerable, and let people know, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. Hey, this is where I need you to step in a little bit more. Okay. Set expectations and also let your people rise to those expectations. So, like with your team members, setting KPIs, key performance indicators, and letting them rise to that KPI, right? With your clients, setting expectations, don't let them settle. So, like, I work privately with a few select individuals, and they send me their goals of like, this is how much that I want to be making in the next quarter. And then I help them break it down to like, this is the next month. And I challenge them to rise up. And so, if I think their goals are a little too small or too safe, I'm going to challenge them. Hey, I think this is great. And I know that you're capable of so much more. You didn't hire me to let you just kind of play safe and stay in your comfort zone. You hired me because I can help you grow and get way past that. So let's set a goal that's going to really help you focus on growth. And I think you are definitely capable of this. And so help people cast a vision and help them rise to that expectation. Don't help them play small. A lot of times people will, um, they'll end up playing small and stay in their comfort zone. And as a leader, you get to help them get beyond that comfort zone and really rise up. Okay. Next is study people. Danny Johnson, I'm going back to her. I learned a lot from her, not recently, but like, and when I first started my network marketing business, I learned a lot from her in the first 3 years. And it stuck with me. One of the things that she said is, if you learn more about people than you do your product line, you'll be unusually successful. And so she taught me originally like the 4 different personality styles and how to actually work with each style, how to lead each style, how to enroll each style. And so there's so many different personality tests that you can do. There's hers, the gems, there's color code. Goodness, there's like a million. There's disc. I'm not super familiar with disc. I'm more familiar with color code and gems. But they're all basically the same. There's 4 main personality styles, and everyone responds and reacts differently. And so it's just a matter of understanding how those 4 different personality styles work, how they're motivated, how you can encourage them, how you can get them to take action. This, like, when you really understand this will help you, like, with your business, obviously, but also like with your relationships and stuff. Because I remember, like, I'm so different than my husband. I'm very competitive, driven, and we were in Senegal, and he was doing a horse competition, and he got second place, and he had this big smile on his face. He was so happy, and I'm like, you didn't win. Why are you smiling? Because I'm like the red ruby driven personality. And he's like, no, we had a lot of fun. And like the horse did a great job and yada yada. Because he's more of the pearl personality style, the, what do you call it? White. And so we're like so different in that regard, but I learned a lot from him how to kind of like tone it down a little bit. But this was so helpful with, raising our son of he's competitive and likes to have fun. So I'm like, how can I make a game out of this? How can I make it fun? One of the first phrases he learned how to say in French was "J'ai gagné," which means I won. So I'm like, how could I make this a game and make it fun and help give him opportunity to like win at something, to like clean his room or whatever. So study people, learn more about people to lead them effectively. And then lead yourself. You got to lead yourself. If you want to lead other people well, it starts with you leading yourself. And so that looks like following through on your commitments. Do what you said you're going to do. Having integrity. These are in building confidence in yourself. The more confidence that you can grow in yourself as a leader in your own leadership abilities, the more you'll be able to transfer that to other people. And so doing a lot of personal growth. Oh my goodness, a lot. Laura's like, I'm going to read a book a week. Awesome. That's how you grow. I read a book a week for close to like over 5 years, probably like 8 years. I need to get back into it. Honestly, I think I got a little lazy with that. So I get back into reading a book a week, and I'll pick out what those books are. So yeah, so welcome feedback, focus on leadership growth, love your people, open communication, choose growth over control, make decisions quickly, adapt, be authentic, set expectations, study people, lead yourself. And I'm going to make the commitment publicly so that I'll read a book a week with you, Laura, and let's do that for the rest of the year. So I'm going to be following through on that commitment. Are you with me? I get to pick out what my next book is going to be. And that's a good challenge. So set a challenge for yourself like that, where you get to follow through. And it's something every time you follow through on those commitments, you're going to grow in your confidence and you're going to ultimately be a better leader. So I hope this was helpful. If you want some more support in growing your business, you want some feedback, you can book a free strategy session with our team if you go to helpmecoachnow.com. Go get that spot. Well, I don't even know if we have them today, so you can go check if we have them today. But go to helpmecoachnow.com before they fill up. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk soon. Bye.